There is a kind of strength that does not come from shouting, from arguing, or from constantly announcing your every move. It is the strength that comes from silence, from patience, from listening more than you speak, from observing more than you reveal. In a world that rewards noise, where everyone wants to be seen and heard instantly, the greatest advantage often belongs to the one who stays calm, measured, and silent. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not the absence of power. Silence is the presence of discipline, control, and wisdom. When you choose silence, you create space to think. You allow yourself to see what others miss because they are too busy talking. You hear the words behind the words. You read the intentions behind the actions. And in that quiet, you build clarity. The great decisions are not born out of noise, they are born out of reflection. Leaders who changed the course of history did not do it by reacting to every voice around them. They did it by stepping back, absorbing the situation, and moving forward with precision. Silence is not just about restraint, it is about positioning yourself for victory. Think of the times when someone doubted you, criticized you, or even mocked you. Your silence in those moments is not surrender, it is strategy. Every second you hold back, you are gathering strength. Every moment you stay quiet, you are proving that their words have no power over you. That composure is intimidating. It tells the world that you are not moved by trivialities. It makes people wonder, what is he thinking? What is she planning? Silence plants seeds of respect and sometimes even fear, because people cannot predict a person who doesn't reveal everything. When you stay silent, you also preserve your energy. Instead of wasting time defending yourself to people who do not deserve your explanation, you invest your energy in building, creating, and achieving. Your results will be your response. Your success will be your speech. And nothing is louder than success earned in silence. No argument, no insult, no criticism can compete with undeniable achievement. Life is not about proving yourself every moment. It is about proving yourself at the right moment. And silence is what gives you the patience to wait for that moment. The world will test you. They tempt you, provoke you. But your silence will shield you from distractions. It will keep your focus intact, your goals clear, and your purpose unshaken. Those who chase attention often lose direction. Those who master silence often gain everything. So do not be afraid to be underestimated. Do not be afraid to let people talk while you build. Do not be afraid of the quiet path, because the quiet path often leads to the loudest victories. Silence is not about saying nothing. It is about choosing carefully when to speak, and when you finally do, your words carry the weight of truth, wisdom, and impact. If you want everything in life, respect, peace, power, and success, then embrace silence as your ally. Let your silence sharpen your vision, let it strengthen your character, and let it amplify your actions. Because in the end, the world does not remember those who shouted the loudest. It remembers those whose actions spoke for them, whose silence was filled with purpose, and whose achievements made the greatest noise of all. Silence has always been misunderstood. Most people associate silence with passivity, with a lack of courage, or with weakness. But in reality, silence is one of the most powerful tools you can carry with you in life. If we choose one key point to expand on, it is this: silence gives you control, and control is the foundation for achieving everything you desire in life. When you remain silent, you are in command of yourself, your emotions, and the situation around you. That control becomes the key that unlocks doors others never even notice exist. Think about the everyday situations where people lose control. A colleague insults you at work, and you respond with anger. A family member criticizes your choices, and you rush to defend yourself. A stranger provokes you on the street, and you allow your pride to dictate your reaction. In each of these moments, by responding immediately, you hand over your power. You give the other person control over your emotions. But silence flips that dynamic. When you stay quiet, you refuse to let anyone else dictate how you feel or how you react. You remain steady, calm, and unshaken, while the other person reveals their weakness through their noise. Silence gives you time to think. Most conflicts escalate not because of the original issue, but because of the quick, unfiltered reactions people deliver in the heat of the moment. Words spoken in anger cannot be taken back, and decisions made in haste often carry heavy consequences. But when you practice silence, you insert a pause between the trigger and your response. That pause is where wisdom is born. It allows you to weigh your options, to see the bigger picture, and to choose the response that serves your future rather than your ego. Over time, this habit of pausing and staying silent when provoked will place you miles ahead of those who rush to defend themselves every time. The person who masters silence does not waste energy. Most people go through life expending enormous amounts of energy, trying to convince others of their worth, trying to win arguments, or trying to prove themselves in every interaction. They exhaust themselves in battles that don't even matter. But the silent person conserves that energy. They are not desperate to explain themselves. They are not obsessed with proving every critic wrong in words. Instead, they channel all that energy into building their goals, into refining their craft, into becoming so good that their results cannot be ignored. While the noisy ones are distracted by debates and endless arguments, the silent one is preparing, creating, and growing. And when the moment comes, the silent one speaks not with words but with achievements. Another dimension of silence is perception. Silence makes people curious. In conversations, the one who speaks the least is often the one who holds the most attention. Why? Because silence makes others wonder what you are thinking, what you know, and what you are planning. It creates an air of mystery and strength. The more you reveal, the more predictable you become. The less you reveal, the more unpredictable and powerful you appear. This is why in negotiations, in leadership, or even in personal relationships, silence can be a greater force than speech. The person who can stay silent and listen carefully often discovers more than the one who dominates the conversation. Listening, after all, is where you gain knowledge, and knowledge is what gives you the advantage. Silence also protects your dreams. Too often, people share their plans with the wrong audience. They announce their goals to those who neither understand nor support them. And what happens? Doubt, negativity, and sometimes jealousy creep in. Words of discouragement can plant seeds of hesitation in your mind. But if you learn to stay silent about your goals, if you keep your plans private and let your work reveal itself only when it is ready, then you shield yourself from unnecessary negativity. You keep your focus intact and your motivation undisturbed. Silence here acts as a shield that keeps your vision pure until it is strong enough to stand on its own. But silence is not only a shield, it is also a weapon. Silence disarms people. When someone expects you to react with anger, but you respond with silence, it unsettles them. When someone tries to provoke you, and you give them nothing, they lose their power over you. Your silence becomes louder than their words. It tells them you are not easily shaken, that you are operating on a level they cannot touch. This kind of control often makes others respect you, even if they don't admit it. Silence shows that you are not desperate to be understood or validated, because you already know your worth. There is also peace in silence. The modern world is filled with noise, constant notifications, endless opinions, and a relentless race to be noticed. In that chaos, silence is rare and therefore precious. When you embrace silence, that you carve out a space for yourself that is free from distraction. In that space you find clarity, focus, and inner strength. Silence allows you to hear your own thoughts, to connect with your inner self, and to strengthen your purpose. Without silence, you cannot build the mental strength required to pursue greatness, because greatness is not built in chaos, it is built in focus. If you look at history, you will see that many great leaders and visionaries mastered silence. They did not spend their lives arguing with critics or explaining their every decision. They stayed focused, stayed disciplined, and allowed their actions to speak. Their silence was not emptiness, it was preparation. Their quietness was not weakness, it was patience. And when they finally spoke or acted, the world listened. So if you want everything in life, learn to embrace silence. When you feel provoked, they remain silent. When you are doubted, remain silent. When you are tempted to explain yourself to those who will never understand you, remain silent. Your silence will not only protect you, but also elevate you. Because silence is not the absence of noise, it is the presence of power. It is a statement in itself, one that says, I am in control, I know where I am going, and I do not need to waste words proving it. In the end, silence shapes you into someone unshakable. It gives you control over your emotions, clarity in your decisions, respect from others, and peace within yourself. And when you have those things, you truly have everything. In the end, silence is not about withholding words. It is about holding on to your power. It is about protecting your energy, preserving your focus, and allowing your actions to speak louder than any argument ever could. Those who rush to defend themselves may win attention for a moment, but those who master silence win respect for a lifetime. When you choose silence, you are choosing control. You are choosing strength over reaction, patience over impulse, and wisdom over noise. And that choice will give you everything: peace, clarity, respect, and success. Let your silence become your strategy, your shield, and your greatest source of power. Because in silence you will discover the voice that cannot be ignored. The voice of your results, your character, and your destiny.